Daily shift exceeds 10,000, with a large volume and full capacity. Please get on the bus. Zhiqing, who entered the divine sculpture, originally intended to live his life peacefully and steadily. However, this was an era of Mongol invasion of the Song Dynasty, with magnificent chivalry and martial arts. After witnessing the brutality brought about by the war, he decisively lifted the 3-foot-long sword in his hand. Those who stir up war, die. Keywords of the novel. Zhu starts from Quanzhen swordsmanship without pop-ups. Zhu starts from Quanzhen swordsmanship with TXT complete collection download. Zhu starts from Quanzhen swordsmanship with the latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Swordswung 1,000 times. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Swordswung 1,000 times. It's in June, Mount Zhongnan, Chongyang Palace. At the edge of a cliff, there was a heavy gasping sound. Looking around, a young man was constantly swinging his sword forward, with a single and repetitive movement. The young man was about 17 or 18 years old, with a face as white as jade, lips as red as blood, a high nose bridge, and a pair of sword eyebrows hanging from his attractive peach blossom eyes. The young man's lips moved slightly, and his mouth kept reciting something. Listening attentively, one can vaguely hear the specifics. 990.7, 9990.8, 9990.9, 1000. Complete. Zhiqing swung his last sword and gasped for breath before inserting his long sword into the ground. Then, with legs differentiating, the body sinks, and the horse steps are taken to perform the full sincerity technique. While he was operating the full sincerity method, there were prompts in his mind. Complete the task of wielding the sword 1,000 times, proficiency point +10. Zhiqing couldn't help but feel a hint of joy at the corner of his mouth when he heard that his proficiency level had increased by 10. Finally, you can upgrade again. He skillfully opened the panel. First, I looked through the information. Player. Zhiqing age. 18 martial cultivation level. Second-rate internal skill. Proficient in Quanzhen mind method, 77 out of 1000, fist technique. Proficient in Quanzhen fist technique, 0/100, swordsmanship. Mastery of Quanzhen swordsmanship, 990/1000, lightness skill. Golden Goose skill proficient, 0/100, daily task. Swung the sword 1,000 times, completed, random task. Not triggered, proficiency point. 10. After reading his personal information, Zhiqing's gaze was fixed on his swordsmanship. Add it to the Quanzhen sword technique for me. With his ideas, he added 10 proficiency points to Quanzhen swordsmanship. I saw that I had become a master of Quanzhen swordsmanship after mastering it. The realm has also changed from second-rate to first-class. After the upgrade of swordsmanship was completed, a memory of him practicing Quanzhen swordsmanship for decades and finally reaching the level of a master appeared in his mind. Not only that, his body also changed a bit, and his arms became slightly stronger. Absorbing memories, Zhiqing was thinking about the level of martial arts in his heart. Martial arts cultivation, whether it's swordsmanship, boxing, or lightness skills, having entry level, proficient, master, and grand master levels. When he first learned martial arts, he only needed to add a little to get started. But later on, he became proficient from the beginner's level but needed to add 10 points. When he thought of becoming proficient, he needed 100 points, and then he went on to become 1,000 or 10,000. The further you go, the more proficiency points you need. There are 2 ways for him to obtain proficiency points. One type is obtained from daily tasks, with only one type of daily task. Wielding the sword 1,000 times a day, and giving 10 proficiency points. Another type is random tasks. I don't know why, but after the system hit him, he never triggered any random tasks. In this regard, he can only obtain proficiency points through daily tasks every day. However, as we move on, the proficiency level seems to be insufficient. Zhiqing silently calculated how long it would take for him to master swordsmanship without actively practicing it. 10 o'clock a day, 1,000 proficiency points, it takes 100 days. It's only about half a year. In these 100 days, he still needs to not add any points to his martial arts such as lightness and boxing. However, he cannot just add swordsmanship. This world is not a stable and peaceful one, it can be said to be turbulent. He wants to enhance his combat power not only by adding swordsmanship, but also by enhancing other martial arts skills. For example, lightness skills. Zhiqing thought of this world and felt a sigh in his heart. He is very familiar with this world, which is the world of divine sculptures known to him in his previous life. After drowning for a day, he somehow came to this world and became a 14-year-old boy. Later, by chance, he became a disciple of the Quanzhen sect. Now, 4 years have passed and he has finally gained some foundation by relying on hard work and practice. He is not entirely dependent on the system he is in is called the heavenly task system, and it is not that he awakened upon entering this world system. The system awakened slightly later, otherwise he wouldn't have been in a second-rate state after 4 years of non-stop practice. Increasing proficiency can improve martial arts, and his daily practice can also enhance martial arts. This is also why he has to practice his internal skills even when his body is tired after completing daily tasks. Practicing martial arts without practicing will lead to nothing in the end. No matter how good your swordsmanship is, if you lack internal skills, you are just a show-off. Zhiqing was operating his internal mental skills while thinking about how to trigger random tasks. However, he tried several times but never triggered a random task. Ji remained calm and composed, practicing internal skills at the mountaintop. His talent is not good, but it's not bad either. He estimates that he belongs to the upper middle water level, not a natural talent or a useless material. Zhiqing was practicing his skills when he heard footsteps in his ears. He turned his head to look at the sound. After he saw who the newcomer was, a smile couldn't help but appear on his face. The person who came is his junior sister Qingjiao, whose name is similar to the second senior sister Qing Yaojia who got married. Zhiqing and his junior sister walked in, and he asked softly, "Junior sister, why did you come?" The cliff he chose is a relatively steep and remote cliff in Zhongnan Mountain. So that no one can disturb you while practicing. It's Master asked me to call you. Qingjiao is in her 20s, with double eyelids and big eyes, a small upturned nose and red thin lips, and already has the appearance of a beautiful embryo. Perhaps because I haven't grown a head yet, my height is only 1.4 meters. In front of Zhiqing, who was 1.8 meters tall, he appeared even shorter. "Master, are you looking for me?" Zhiqing was a bit puzzled upon hearing this, as his martial arts master usually didn't pay much attention to him. At most occasionally, he will be tested for some literary skills. He has never been allowed to participate in anything like big and small competitions within the sect. "Do you know why Master came to me?" Qingjiao shook her cerebellum and said, "Master didn't tell me." "Hey. Okay then." Zhiqing saw that his junior sister didn't know, so he didn't ask much. He knew everything when it came to the place. "Let's go. Let's go see the master." After Zhiqing finished speaking, he turned his head to see that his junior sister did not move, but instead extended her hands. He shook his head helplessly and walked up to his junior sister, turning around and squatting down. "Come on up." "Oh." Qingjiao cheered and jumped onto Zhiqing's back, supporting his shoulders with both hands. She grabbed Zhiqing's shoulders and swayed back and forth. Drive. Be honest with me." Zhiqing scolded and gently supported his junior sister's perky buttocks with his hand, then used the golden goose technique to descend the cliff. Not long ago, Zhiqing carried his junior sister to the outside of the master's yard. He had just stopped at the door when he heard the voice of the master in the courtyard. "Don't come in yet." Upon hearing this, Zhiqing quickly released his junior sister. He tidied up his clothes a little before entering the courtyard with his junior sister. In the small courtyard, a slender Taoist in Xuani, holding a wooden sword, stabbing or chopping, is practicing swordsmanship. Zhiqing and Qingjiao approached the Taoist nun and respectfully said, "Master." This Taoist is not an outsider, he is Sun Bu'er, the master of Zhiqing and a scattered individual. He is the seventh son of Quanzhen. She didn't stop when she saw the two disciples paying their respects, but instead ordered, "Wait on the side first." Upon hearing the master's words, Zhiqing stood aside with his junior sister. After a while, Sun Bu'er finally finished a set of swordsmanship. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Task triggering. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Task triggering. In the courtyard, Sun Bu'er drew his sword and stood up. She looked at her two disciples with a gentle gaze. "How much did you understand the swordsmanship I just showed my teacher?" Qingjiao shook her head repeatedly when she heard her master's question and said honestly, "Master, I have never seen this swordsmanship before. I can't understand it at all." Zhiqing is also like this, he has not learned the swordsmanship exhibited by his master. However, now that Quanzhen swordsmanship has reached the level of a master, he can still see some sense of purpose from it. "Although I can't understand it, I see that this swordsmanship seems like two people practicing it together." Zhiqing's words surprised Sun Bu'er's face. She looked at Zhiqing with admiration and said, "I only know that you have good literary skills, and I didn't expect you to have martial arts skills to make a name for yourself. But I didn't expect that you have a lot of eye skills." "Master, thank you. This is not an exaggeration. The sword technique I used as my teacher is called Sun-Moon Combination Sword, which is a sword formation used by two people." Sun Bu'er looked at Zhiqing and Qingjiao and said, "This sword formation is the most suitable for you two." Upon hearing this, Qingjiao's face turned slightly red and she said with a coquettish anger, "Master." Zhiqing was also slightly embarrassed. "What does master mean by this? Besides, my junior sister is only 14 years old, and he is not a beast. It's just swordsmanship. What are you thinking?" Sun Bu'er chuckled and said, "When I have time to teach you two this sword formation, it's a pity that you little girl didn't practice hard. You don't have the qualifications to learn this sword formation yet." "Master." Upon hearing this, Qingjiao hurriedly said, "Next, I will definitely practice my skills well." Sun Bu'er looked at Qingjiao with a smirk and said, I believe you are." On the side, Zhiqing watched as the master played with his junior sister, but he remained silent. "By the way, Zhiqing." After teasing Qingjiao for a while, Sun Bu'er restrained his expression a bit. "I came to see you as a teacher about recent events. This time, our Quanzhen sect has summoned many disciples to deal with external enemies." Zhiqing naturally had some understanding of what his master said. Mongolian Prince Huadu has released a message, wanting to marry the little dragon girl of the House Han Ancient Tomb sect. Fourth Master Qiu Chuji wanted to help the Ancient Tomb sect, so he summoned his disciples outside to return to the mountain gate. Recently, all the disciples of the Quanzhen sect have been rushing back. Zhiqing is still thinking about these. Sun Bu'er spoke up and instructed him, "For the next period of time, you and my senior uncles will practice martial arts in seclusion. You must take good care of Jiao." Zhiqing nodded in response to his master's request for seclusion. For him, it may be difficult to protect the Quanzhen sect, but it's not a problem to protect his junior sister alone. Besides, there may be a few interesting people coming up next. Zhiqing had a slight expectation in his eyes when he thought of some characters who might appear. He may be able to meet the one who is known for his chivalry, serving the country and the people. Zhiqing and his master left, and he looked at his junior sister. "Follow me honestly for the next period of time, don't run around recklessly. He didn't know when the Mongolian prince would bring people, so it was safer to bring his junior sister to his side. Don't worry, senior brother. I will definitely follow you closely. Just as Qing Jiayao finished speaking, Su Zhiqing's face suddenly brightened. Random task triggering. He ignored Qing Jiayao's current situation and checked the panel. Random task. Defend the Quanzhen sect and repel incoming enemies. Reward 10 proficiency points for successful tasks. After reading the task, Su Zhiqing muttered to himself about what circumstances would trigger the immediate task. As for being more proficient at 10 points, he is not lacking. If practicing martial arts, it's better to get started with 10 martial arts. If used to upgrade martial arts, it would be a drop in the bucket. Senior brother, I'm following you. You look very happy. Unconsciously, Qing Jiayao noticed that after speaking, her senior brother fell into a state of joy. This made her secretly happy. Does her senior brother also like her very much? Su Zhiqing, who was surprised by Qing Jiayao's words, saw his junior sister's silly and joyful expression. He had no choice but to reach out and pat his junior sister's little head, saying, "Don't daydream." After finishing these, Su Zhiqing took his junior sister to do the literature class. The cultivation of Quanzhen sect disciples not only requires practicing martial arts, but also reading and practicing calligraphy. If some disciples with excellent literary skills can still be recommended by the sect to take the imperial examination route. Wandering in the martial arts world can earn one a reputation, and walking in the officialdom is equally dignified. Su Zhiqing, as the personal disciple of Sun Bu'er, can choose not to practice martial arts with other disciples. His time is mostly arranged by his master, who also allows him to do so, so he basically arranges it himself. In the morning, he is usually used for practicing martial arts, while in the afternoon, he is used for reading and practicing calligraphy. In the afternoon, Su Zhiqing not only studied and practiced calligraphy on his own, but also urged his junior sister to study hard. A thorough reading of the book also has a great advantage in understanding and practicing martial arts. A day's time flies in the blink of an eye. The next day, Su Zhiqing still got up early. He first practiced some internal skills. Waiting for breakfast time in the sect, he ran to wake up his junior sister and went to eat together. After dinner, Su Zhiqing dragged his junior sister back to the Jing Academy. If the master is not in the yard, he doesn't have to run to the cliff to do daily tasks. I can also supervise my junior sister to practice martial arts in the yard. After Su Zhiqing closed the courtyard door, he began to swing his sword. 1,000 times, even though he has now reached a first class level, even after wielding his sword, his muscles are swollen and painful. Su Zhiqing saw that he had accumulated 10 more points of proficiency in the panel, and he felt that it was all worth it. He turned his face and found his junior sister admiring him for not practicing martial arts. His face sank and he said, "Practice swordsmanship." Oh. Qing Jiayao regained her senses and went to practice swordsmanship on her own. However, while practicing swordsmanship, she still couldn't avoid peeking at Su Zhiqing. Even though Su Zhiqing scolds her every time, he still cannot make Qing Jiayao change. Day by day, the date came from the 7th day of June to the middle of the month. Su Zhiqing basically doesn't go out every day except for eating. Because the entire sect is currently under martial law, all disciples are not allowed to wander outside. And this also fits his heart, the longer he goes, the higher his martial arts will be. If he can stay safely in the yard, he won't go out. However, Su Zhiqing did not stay in the yard without hearing anything about the sect. He also inquired about it. I have inquired about the arrangements of the senior uncles after they closed down. The current Quanzhen sect is under the responsibility of Zhao Zhijing, a disciple of Wang Qi. After Su Zhiqing asked these questions, he returned to the Jing Academy to practice martial arts in seclusion. Time has come to the 29th. In the middle of the sun, Su Zhiqing, who was practicing in the Jing Academy, suddenly saw a signal coming from the foot of the mountain. Coming. Zhiqing saw the signal and did not rush to leave the yard to provide support. Instead, he opened the task panel. He glanced at the random task, which was jumping, indicating that there was a strong enemy attacking the mountain. He glanced over the random tasks and placed his gaze on the accumulated proficiency points over the past few days. For most of the month, he has accumulated 230 proficiency points. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Arrival. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Arrival. After reading the accumulated proficiency points, Zhiqing's gaze shifted back to the personal panel. Player. Zhiqing. Age. 18. Martial arts cultivation. First class internal skill. Mastery of Quanzhen FA, 11/1000, fist technique. Proficient in Quanzhen fist technique, 93/100, swordsmanship. Quanzhen swordsmanship master, 17/10,000, lightness skill. Golden goose skill proficient, 0 out of 100. After browsing the personal panel, Zhiqing pondered for a moment before making a decision. There may seem to be many points of proficiency, but when it comes to internal skills and swordsmanship, it cannot increase level and combat power. He aimed at the lightness skill. Add points. As Zhiqing's mind moved, he added 100 proficiency points to Jin Yen Gong. The proficiency of Golden Wild Goose Technique instantly became the proficiency of Golden Wild Goose Technique, 0/1000. When he finished practicing the Golden Wild Goose Technique, what followed was his memory of practicing it for several years. There is heat flowing inside his legs, and the muscle lines in his legs become stronger. After adding the Golden Goose skill, Zhiqing looked at the remaining 130 proficiency points. He hesitated for a moment, but ultimately decided to keep it. The rest can also improve Quanzhen boxing, which he practices daily. Improving his martial arts skills cannot make his combat power surge, and adding points is not cost-effective. It's better to wait and accumulate more proficiency points before deciding what to add. Senior brother, it's not good. Someone is attacking our Quanzhen sect. Qing Jiao, who saw the signal, ran over with a face full of panic. What are you panicking about? The sky is falling and there's a tall one standing against it. Zhiqing said to his junior sister, then stood up and asked, is the enemy attacking? Qing Jiao shook her head repeatedly and said, no, not yet. It's senior brother Zhao. He's leading the other senior brothers down the mountain to face the enemy. Still at the foot of the mountain, then there's no need to panic. Zhiqing picked up his long sword as he spoke. Senior brother, what are you going to do? Go and see who the enemy is. Qing Jiao saw her senior brother finish speaking and walked out of the courtyard. She quickly followed and said, I'm with you. Zhiqing did not refuse. If it were really the Mongolian people who attacked, the mountain might not be safer than the mountain below. He took his junior sister down the mountain on a small path. Before reaching the foot of the mountain, he saw Zhao Zhiqing and a group of people besieging a middle-aged man. Why is there only one person? Qing Jiao also saw the situation below the mountain. She murmured, this person is so amazing. Zhiqing nodded on the side. The middle-aged man fell into the encirclement of Zhao Zhiqing and others without any panic. Ting Xuan moved around and could always find a gap, and with just one sweep, a group of disciples collapsed. In a short moment, the brothers who rushed forward were all injured by the middle-aged man. Zhiqing narrowed his eyes slightly when he saw this scene. The current Quanzhen sect is the largest sect in the martial arts world, with a sword formation set up by hundreds of martial brothers that even top-notch experts would hate. This middle-aged man feels like he has entered a deserted land inside. Unless Zhiqing remembered someone in his mind, Jing, who led Yongguo up the mountain. Thinking of this, he immediately couldn't stand. If all the senior brothers were injured by Jing, wouldn't it be a big bargain for the Mongolian prince to bring people over? Thinking so, Su Zhiqing immediately jumped over. A few leaps, they came to the side of the sword formation. The person who came here is Jing and Daxia. In the sword formation, Jing heard a sound and took some time to look around, only to find that he didn't know a young man. But it's always a good thing that this young man knows him. He came to Quanzhen to teach, not to fight. Thinking of someone knowing him, he quickly shouted, "It's Guo." Su Zhiqing saw that the person who came was really Jing, so he got up and jumped into the sword formation. "Senior brother Zhao, stop it." Zhao Zhijing and others were besieging Jing when they suddenly discovered that Su Zhiqing had fallen into the sword formation. He felt a slight anger in his heart and scolded, "Junior brother Su, what are you doing?" "Zhao senior brother, there's a misunderstanding." Upon hearing this, Su Zhiqing hurriedly said, "This one should be Jing and Daxia, not an enemy of Mongolia." However, Zhao Zhijing would not listen to him. "He destroyed the stone tablet at the foot of our mountain, how could it not be an enemy?" "Junior brother Su, please dodge." Su Zhiqing heard this and turned his head to look at Jing, but saw that Jing had a look of shame on his face. What this brother said is indeed true. It's strange that Guo accidentally destroyed the monument without controlling his emotions at that time. Su Zhiqing remembers that when Jing came to Quanzhen did indeed fight, but he can't remember the specific reason now. Since he has appeared now, we cannot let our fellow disciples fight against Jing again. Mainly because it can't be defeated. Daxia, you can talk to my senior uncles about these words later. For now, it's better to stop first. Su Zhiqing's gaze swept over the senior brothers as he spoke. Senior brothers, Daxia is indeed not an enemy of Mongolia. Don't let your own people attack your own. His words have just landed. I heard shouts on the mountain. No problem, the Mongol enemy came from the back mountain, they didn't leave the front mountain. Su Zhiqing's face slightly changed upon hearing this, and Zhao Zhijing and others did the same. Junior brother Su, I will definitely tell the leader about your obstruction of me later. Zhao Zhijing waved his hand and said, let's go and support the mountaintop with me. Suddenly, a group of disciples followed Zhao Zhijing towards Chongyang Palace. In a moment, the people finished walking. Su Zhiqing saw this and turned his head to look at Jing. Su has long heard of the name of Daxia, but now there are Mongol enemies attacking. We will treat Daxia after we retreat. He finished speaking and turned around to leave. Wait for me, little brother. Jing reached out and picked up a young man beside him, and in the blink of an eye, he followed Su Zhiqing. Little brother, your sect has some connection with Guo. I wonder if you could tell me what the situation is now. What is the situation with the Mongol enemies? Su Zhiqing saw that Jing wanted to know, but in short, he explained the current situation. After he finished speaking these words, he came to his junior sister. In Jing's surprised gaze, he grabbed his junior sister and continued to run up the mountain. Jing remained silent upon seeing this, but followed closely. Quickly, the four of them arrived at the mountain. They all heard the sound of swords colliding on the mountain. Su Zhiqing's face slightly changed when he heard the sound, knowing that the Mongol enemy had engaged with disciples within the sect. Junior sister, let's go support the master and his team. He spoke and hurriedly headed to the place where his master and uncle were locked down. The deeper you go, the more intense the sound of hand to hand. Some Mongolian soldiers also rushed over when they saw Su Zhiqing and others. Su Zhiqing drew his sword and killed him without leaving a hand. One sword is a little karami. In the blink of an eye, they arrived at the courtyard where the masters, uncles, and others were located. As soon as he entered the courtyard, he saw Zhao Zhijing being slapped away by a Mongolian man. Su Zhiqing quickly stepped forward to catch Zhao Zhijing, and then he looked at the Mongolian man. Junior brother Su. Zhao Zhijing didn't expect that it would be Su Zhiqing who caught him. Senior brother Zhao, stand firm. Su Zhiqing let go of Zhao Zhijing, and his gaze swept over the courtyard. It was discovered that Master Sun Buer and his uncles were pale and seemed to have been seriously injured. At this moment, they were being closely guarded by a group of disciples behind them. What is the situation? Why did the master and others suffer serious injuries? Even if Jing took action, he wouldn't have injured his masters so badly so quickly, would he? End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Telling the story of shooting sculptures in divine sculptures. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Telling the story of shooting sculptures in divine sculptures. After the Mongolian man repelled Zhao Zhiqing, his eyes showed contempt. The first major faction. Is that all? There's not even one who can fight. Upon hearing this, the disciples of the Quanzhen sect became angry one by one, and Zhao Zhiqing, who was beside Su Zhiqing, said, "Despicable villain, sneak attack us when we are not prepared. Surprise attack. Naive. This is called, never tire of deceit. After the Mongolian man laughed heartily, his gaze turned to the injured Qiu Chuji and others. Today I just need to kill you, and the largest sect in the Central Plains can be expelled from here on. After he finished speaking, he waved his hand at the soldiers behind him and said, "Come on, kill them." After the Mongolian man finished speaking, he had to rush over first. Miso. Standing beside Zhao Zhiqing, Su Zhiqing seized the opportunity and stabbed with a sword. The Mongolian man never imagined that the furry boy in front of him would have such sharp swordsmanship. He noticed the sword light in his eyes, but his body couldn't dodge. Puff. The long sword instantly penetrated his chest. You. The Mongolian man stared at Su Zhiqing. However, Su Zhiqing's face remained unchanged. After pulling out his long sword, he kicked the Mongolian man away. He saw that the Mongolian man's vitality was gradually fading, and said calmly, "If you want to destroy my Quanzhen sect, in the next life." After speaking, I took my long sword. The rabble behind this Mongolian man, seeing that the leader was dead, dared not stay and quickly fled. The other disciples of Quanzhen will not miss the opportunity to beat the dog in pain when they see this. They pursued with victory and were not prepared to release any of them to attack the enemy. At this moment, Sun Buer suddenly spoke up and said, "Zhiqing, hurry up and go to the tomb of the living dead. These 3 sects and 9 elites have split their troops into 2 routes. One team is attacking us, and the other team is going to the tomb of the living dead." Upon hearing his master's words, Su Zhiqing nodded slightly and said, Master, I'll come right after I go." After speaking, he turned around and left. "Young Xia, I'll go with you." Jing was thinking about not being helpful when he heard that there was still a group of people who refused to watch the play. "Thank you very much." Su Zhiqing and Jing rushed together to the tomb of the living dead in the back mountain. After the 2 of them left, Qiu Chuji and others reacted. "That's Jinger." Sun Buer nodded and said, "It's him. I just don't know what he's doing here. No matter what he does, with him around, I'm sure those people like Huadu can't please him." Zhao Zhiqing, who was standing beside him, immediately closed his mouth when he heard the words of Qiu Chuji, Sun Buer, and others. He originally wanted to say that the person next to Su Zhiqing was a lecherous thief. Now it seems that what Su Zhiqing said is right. Zhao Zhiqing thought of Su Zhiqing killing him easily, beating him into a seriously injured Mongolian man, and a hint of doubt flashed in his eyes. Why is his martial arts so high? The tomb of the living dead is located on the back mountain of Zhongnan Mountain, adjacent to the Chongyang Palace. Su Zhiqing and Jing arrived at the back mountain shortly after. When the 2 arrived, the scene they saw surprised them. A group of people were running in a disheveled state, and behind them came a dense swarm of bees. Su Zhiqing and Jing both felt scalp tingling when they saw the group of wasps. "It's really too dense, it looks very penetrating at first glance." Su Zhiqing had watched it on TV before, but he didn't think much of it. "Now I have personally experienced it, and my whole body is standing up with sweat and hair. He and Jing quickly moved aside, they didn't want to be implicated by this group of people. It seems that we don't need our help anymore. Jing on the side said so. Zhiqing nodded, he already knew the strength of little dragon girl and the plot. He came just in case. Now he can rest assured that just the little dragon girl's skillful handling of wasps leaves many people helpless. After the group of people were driven away by the wasp, a stunning woman dressed in white and a mother-in-law appeared in front of them. Zhiqing looked at these two people, and the two who appeared in front of him were not others. The former is little dragon girl, while the latter is grandmother. During his 3 years in Zhongnan Mountain, he has seen many grandmothers and little dragon girls. Especially his relationship with grandma's son is the best. Su Xiaozi. After seeing Zhiqing, the grandmother-in-law showed a hint of relief on her face. My mother-in-law knew you would come. After seeing Zhiqing, the little dragon girl on the side also nodded slightly to express gratitude to Zhiqing. My mother-in-law said this, besides my master, I am also closest to you all. Knowing that Huadu brought people to your place, Guadashia and I rushed over. Now that I see you're okay, I feel much more at ease. Zhiqing introduced Jing to him and said, this is the hero Gua that I mentioned. Grandmother and Xiaolongnu both looked at Jing with a slight surprise in their eyes upon hearing this. Su, is this the protagonist of your archery story? Upon hearing this, Jing felt a bit confused. What is the protagonist of a shooting sculpture story? He did indeed shoot eagles. Zhiqing's face showed an unnatural color upon hearing this, as he became acquainted with his grandmother. In-law and little dragon girl. It's because he tells stories to the two of them when he's free. Even shooting eagles, he gave a rough explanation. There is no taboo that Jing is the protagonist inside. Cough, mother-in-law, I'm just reading stories that Sister Long is quite boring and casually made up. After Zhiqing finished speaking, he introduced his grandmother-in-law and little dragon girl to Jing. Guadashia, these are Grandma's son and Miss Long from the ancient tomb sect. Huadu also brought people to come and forcibly rob Miss Long because of her beauty. Jing was greatly surprised to find that the protagonist of this incident was actually the dragon girl in front of him. This girl is indeed beautiful, but she still cannot compare to his roamer. Jingchong's little dragon girl and grandma's son arched their hands and said, Gua has seen two of them. After he finished speaking, he curiously asked, just now, when you saw me, what did you mean by the protagonist in the story of archery? Grandmother and Xiaolongnu couldn't help but glance at Jing's silly, honest and straightforward appearance, and both thought of Zhiqing's description of Jing when telling stories. Xiaolongnu is embarrassed to lie, but she is also embarrassed for Zhiqing to fabricate a story with Jing as the protagonist. Hi, it's Su Xiaozi. He read a story about shooting eagles, and the protagonist of the story happened to have the same name as Guadashia, said Grandma's son without changing her face or feeling surprised. Jing suddenly said, I see. Knowing the answer, he immediately stopped asking further questions. Zhiqing listened to the three people's language on the side, but he didn't interrupt. The system prompts him to complete random tasks and proficiently click on the account. Zhiqing looked at the proficiency point on the panel and became 140. He was still somewhat pleased, although not much, at least it was still flesh. When he finished reading the proficiency point, he noticed that the random task was flashing. He looked and found that there were new tasks generated for random tasks. Random task. Take Yang Gua as your disciple. Task success proficiency point *10. After finishing the task, Zhiqing's face became strange. Let him take Yang Gua as his disciple. Are you messing around? End of this chapter. Chapter 5. How to teach Yang Gua. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. How to teach young Gua no matter what he does, random tasks should not be missed. Su Zhiqing is not prepared to miss the task. Isn't it just accepting Yang Gua as an apprentice? He is not incapable of teaching either. It's better than Zhao Zhijing, who only taught Yang Gua a few mnemonics in half a year. If he teaches, he will teach well. After finishing the task, Su Zhiqing saw Gua Jing, his grandmother. Law, and Miss Long finish speaking. He spoke up and said, "Grandma, Miss Long, since the foreign enemy has retreated, I won't stay here for now. I'll come back to find you when I have free time." After speaking, Su Zhiqing invited Gua Jing and said, "Gua Daxia came to my Quanzhen sect. There should be something to do, why don't you come back with me?" Gua Jing arched his hand and said, "You should be like this." Su Zhiqing left with Gua Jing. Grandmother looked at Su Zhiqing's departing figure and turned her head to look at little dragon girl. "Unfortunately," she said, "if only Su weren't from Chongyang Palace." "Why does my mother. Law say that?" Little dragon girl doesn't know why her grandmother. Law said this. "You, silly girl. Su has left, let's go back too." Grandmother sighed in her heart and returned to the tomb of the living dead with little dragon girl. Outside the Chongyang Palace, a group of miscellaneous disciples of the Quanzhen sect were handling blood stains on the ground and walls with mops and buckets. Su Zhiqing, as the fifth son, naturally does not need to do these things. He returned to the main hall of Chongyang Palace with Gua Jing. In the main hall, Su Zhiqing saw the masters and uncles who had regained a slight aura. As soon as Su Zhiqing walked in, Sun Bu'er and others immediately looked at him. "Zhiqing, why did you come back so quickly?" "Master, when we went, we happened to see those people being kicked back by Miss Long." Sun Bu'er and others breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing this. Ma Yu smiled and said, "We were too worried." Sun Bu'er continued, "Yes, I didn't expect Miss Long to have such strength." After several people sighed, their eyes turned to Gua Jing. "Gua Daxia. We are injured, sorry we can't stand up and greet each other anymore." Gua Jing also quickly clenched his fists and said, "You all have injuries on your body, that's how it is. Moreover, Master Ma has also taught Gua. How dare I let Master Ma take the initiative to greet you?" Su Zhiqing could see clearly that Gua Jing's respect for several senior uncles was not a forgery. Firstly, when Ma Yu saw Gua Jing's respect for him, he also felt a slight emotion in his heart. The once foolish disciple has gradually become a top-notch expert. "Zhiqing." Ma Yu looked at Su Zhiqing. "How did you get to know Jinger?" Su Zhiqing chuckled and said, "Before I entered the mountain gate, I once heard of the deeds of Gua Daxia and saw his portrait. Actually, at the beginning, I couldn't confirm. Later, under the siege of our sword formation, Gua Daxia still didn't attack and killed his fellow disciples." "I see." Upon hearing these words, Ma Yu and others were taken aback. If it were the enemy, how could they be lenient in the chaos? Fortunately, you are clever and timely in shouting, "Retreat." Otherwise, so many disciples wouldn't have fought against external enemies before we could have killed ourselves. After hearing Su Zhiqing's words, Zhao Zhijing's master Wang Chu turned his head and scolded Zhao Zhijing. "Before starting next time, be sure to ask the person in charge and don't rush to start." Zhao Zhijing was not convinced in his heart and wanted to argue a few words, but he realized that his master had not punished him, so he admitted his mistake and said yes. He glanced at Su Zhiqing and secretly remembered him in his heart. If it weren't for this product, he wouldn't have been scolded by his master at all. He thinks that on weekdays, the other senior brothers treat him politely. Only Su Zhiqing has a peculiar gaze every time he looks at him. This kid is holding it back. On the side, Su Zhiqing noticed someone looking at him and his gaze swept away, revealing that it was Zhao Zhijing. He raised his eyebrows, "Isn't this guy holding a grudge against him?" But he doesn't care. When Su Zhiqing saw Zhao Zhijing still glancing at him, he stared directly at him. He thinks he needs to give Zhao Zhiqing some color to see if he finds an opportunity. Otherwise, the province will always miss him. He stared, but instead made Zhao Zhiqing shrink his gaze and dare not look at him again. Zhiqing then withdrew his gaze with satisfaction. On the upper level, Ma Yu and others saw clearly. They secretly felt surprised, and today Zhiqing's performance can be said to have shocked them. They find Zhiqing's writing elegant and his temperament gentle. Unexpectedly, when the enemy attacked, they mercilessly attacked the assassin. Their sharp appearance made them tremble in their hearts. Now looking at Zhiqing glaring at Zhao Zhiqing, it made Zhao Zhiqing's gaze dare not look straight. A few people looked at each other, but Wang Chu looked ashamed one by one. They took the matter of Zhiqing and Zhao Zhiqing seriously, but neither of them spoke it out. In their view, the affairs between the disciples should be resolved by the disciples themselves. Ma Yu coughed lightly and looked at Jing. Jinger, aren't you on Peach Blossom Island? Why did you think of coming to my Chongyang palace? Master, I'm actually here to ask for something. Jing claimed in front of Ma Yu that his disciples had no connection. Although he and Zhou Baotong are sworn brothers. But when it comes to relationships, it's still up to each individual to discuss their own. Otherwise, in his current generation, it might be Ma Yu calling him uncle. Jing's gaze swept over the main hall and saw Yang, who was huddled in the crowd and had not escaped. With a hint of surprise in his eyes, he pulled Yang out. Master, this is the child of one of the disciples' brothers. Because the disciple is foolish and not very good at teaching this child, I want to ask the master to help find a teacher for this child. When Zhiqing saw the child next to Jing, who was really Yang, he had a slight interest in his eyes. This is the protagonist in the divine sculpture. But changing the other person's fate from the beginning would probably change a lot of things, right? Zhiqing thought and glanced at the task again. He has a headache. How can he say he took Yang as his disciple? When he thought about it, Ma Yu, who was sitting in the upper position, suddenly realized that Jing had come to Chongyang Mountain. Randomly, he thought that ordinary people wouldn't let Jing spend so much effort. Who is this child? Xiao Chuji was curious about the children around Jing. What is the origin of the child? Yang. My father is Yang Kong. Shua. The gaze of Ma Yu and others all turned to Yang. Some disciples who don't know why are secretly puzzled. Does this child have a good background? Sun Buer and others noticed their loss of composure and immediately withdrew their gaze. They didn't expect that the child next to Jing was actually the son of Yang Kong. A few people turned their gaze to the fuselage at the hill. They want to know what senior brother does. After all, the father of this child, Yang Kong, is a disciple passed down by his senior brother. Xiao Chuji looked at Yang with a gloomy expression. If it weren't for his poor education, how could Yang Kong become such a person? He looked at Yang, who was dressed in tattered clothes and had some resemblance to Yang Kong, with a hint of shame in his heart. I'm ashamed of this, but he still agreed to Jing's request. Xiao Chuji glanced at Zhao Zhiqing in the main hall and turned his gaze to him. Zhiqing saw that Master Qiu of Xindao was going to choose Zhao Zhiqing. He walked out and recommended himself, Uncle Qiu, Great Xiagua, how about I teach this kid? End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Changing Yanggua's fate from today. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Changing Yanggua's fate from today. Both Qiu Chuji and Jing look surprised. They are both like this, let alone the others. Zhiqing looked at the two of them and chuckled lightly. Although my martial arts are not very good, I still have more than enough to teach this kid, right? Zhiqing. Stop making trouble. The words were spoken by Sun Buer, who thought Zhiqing was joking. Her disciple is just a teenager. Master, I'm serious. After Zhiqing finished speaking, he turned his head to look at Qiu Chuji and Guo Jing and said, "Senior uncle, Guo Daxia, please rest assured. I'll take this kid for a while. If it doesn't work out then, let him choose another famous teacher." After hearing this, Qiu Chuji became somewhat moved. He looked at Guo Jing. Guo Jing lowered his head and pondered for a moment before finally bowing his hand to Su Zhiqing and saying, "Brother Su, I'll leave this nephew to you. Please discipline him strictly." Su Zhiqing chuckled and said, "Please rest assured, great Xiaoguo. I will definitely teach this kid well." Guo Jing's face also showed a smile upon hearing this. Later, he patted Yang Guo's shoulder. "I'm not going to pay my respects yet." Su Zhiqing looked at young Yang Guo. He remembers that the original plot was that Yang Guo had a grudge against Guo Jing in his heart. Young Yang Guo felt that Guo Jing's martial arts were 10,000 times stronger than those of these Quanzhen sections. Guo Jing did not teach him martial arts, but instead threw him into this Quanzhen sect. At this moment, he looked at the young sunshine and found that the other person's eyes were bright and there was not much resentment. He was very interested and didn't know what Yang Guo was thinking in his heart. Speaking of Yang Guo at this moment, he heard Uncle Guo's words. He walked out directly and knelt respectfully on the ground, kowtowing to Su Zhiqing. "Student Yang Guo, pay respects to master." Su Zhiqing was also touched when he saw Yang Guo kneeling down to pay his respects. He is unfamiliar to this world, and only these familiar names give him a sense of belonging. He thought about Yang Guo's future fate and felt that it was really inappropriate. Can't Yang Guo become a top-notch expert without experiencing these things? Su Zhiqing doesn't think so. Why let the pain that can be avoided happen? Su Zhiqing silently sighed in his heart and patted Yang Guo's shoulder, saying, "From now on, you will be my eldest disciple. As a teacher, there are those who know, and we will not hide anything. We will teach you one by one." After speaking, he said, "Get up." Yang Guo quickly got up from the ground. Guo Jing on the side also breathed a sigh of relief upon seeing this, and placing Yang Guo in this Quanzhen sect was also considered a matter of concern. "Guo, you should listen to your master's words well in the future and not let down your master." Yang Guo nodded and said, "Uncle Guo, don't worry." Guo Jing nodded and said, "If you say that, I can rest assured." Su Zhiqing listened to their conversation and felt quite speechless in his heart. He knew it was Yang Guo's background that made Guo Jing quite tricky, or rather Guo Jing didn't have much time. In addition, with the persuasion of Huang Rong, who already has children, he is also in a difficult position to handle Yang Guo's matter. But he doesn't care about Yang Guo's background. Su Zhiqing listened to the two of them, but his mind was on the screen in front of him. When Yang Guo knelt down to worship him as his teacher, random tasks kept flashing. He checked and found that the task had become completed. The reward has also been received. His accumulated proficiency has also increased from 140 to 150. This task was done effortlessly, and Su Zhiqing felt a sense of satisfaction in both China and the United States. He is ready to wait until he has accumulated enough proficiency to further elevate his internal mental skills. In this way, his internal strength will become even stronger. Su Zhiqing was thinking this way when he discovered that the random task had undergone new changes. Random task. Become the chief of the Quanzhen sect. Reward 100 proficiency points for successful tasks. Su Zhiqing couldn't help but feel a bit frustrated when he saw this task. The most promising chief disciple to be recognized at present is Zhiqing, who is quite elegant and has excellent martial arts skills. The most important point is that Zhiqing is the second disciple of Master Qiu Chuji. Master Ma Yu appears to be in charge, but he is in a semi-reclusive state. Now Quanzhen Jizi is about to be led by Shibo Qiu Chuji. As his disciple, Zhiqing's advantage is not insignificant. Another competitor is Zhao Zhiqing. And he wants to become the chief, not just because his martial arts skills surpass these two. We also need to strive for the recognition of the other senior uncles. He doesn't really care about his proficiency in this task, it's just 100 proficiency points. He saved up, and there will be one in 10 days. He was mainly worried that this random task might not be completed, so he froze here. Then he has no place to cry. Zhiqing thought about it, but was not in a hurry. Several senior uncles are still young and have no plans to find a successor. After reading the task and his thoughts, Zhiqing only had a short time. Coincidentally, he regained consciousness and saw that Jing had finished instructing Guo. Then I wanted to say goodbye. When Zhiqing saw this, he arched his hand at his senior uncle Ma Yu and said, "Senior uncle, Guodashia finally came to our place. If he comes, he will leave. Isn't it that we, the Quanzhen sect, won't treat outsiders well?" Upon hearing this, Ma Yu also praised, "Jinger, take a look. Is Zhiqing right? You happen to be here, why don't you stay for a few days?" Zhiqing saw that Jing wanted to evade, so he advised, "Guodashia, you can stay. You've come, and you don't care about the days ahead." Jing had no choice but to say, "Senior brother Su, you have said so." So Guo would rather be respectful than obedient. Zhiqing left Jing with a natural intention. Jing has such high martial arts skills and rich experience in combat. In terms of martial arts, he wants Jing to give him some guidance. With the guidance of Jing, his martial arts can also improve. Additionally, he also wanted Jing to see how he taught Guo. Ma Yu saw Jing stay and apologized, "Jinger, in the next few days, I will be in seclusion for treatment. Let Zhiqing treat you first, right?" Jing hurriedly said, "Master, it's important to heal in seclusion." Ma Yu nodded and turned his head to Zhiqing, ordering, "Please arrange a quieter courtyard for Jinger to entertain her well. Don't neglect it." When Zhiqing heard his master ask him to find the yard, he felt a slight joy in his heart. Let him look, he must be looking for a very close one. He remembers that there is an idle yard near the Qingjing courtyard. Just right for Jing to use. Yes. After Zhiqing finished speaking, he invited Jing and said, "Guodashia, please come with me." He also didn't forget Guo. "Student, come over too." Jing saw this and arched his hand at Ma Yu and others, and then followed Zhiqing with Guo. Wait for the three people to leave the main hall. Ma Yu and others glanced at each other, and finally turned their gaze to Sun Bu'er. "Junior sister, your disciple is really not easy." Sun Bu'er had a hint of pride in his eyes, but he was very humble on his face. Where, I can't compare to Zhibing and Jing." After speaking, she smiled and said, "No matter how Zhiqing is, the important thing is that he is a disciple of our Quanzhen sect." A few people laughed at the words. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. And Jing's discussion on Guo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. And Jing's discussion on Guo. Zhiqing took Jing to a small courtyard to settle down. Guodashia. As soon as he spoke, Jing waved his hand repeatedly and said, "Junior brother Su, don't call me Guodashia anymore. You and I are of the same generation, and Guo is also a member of the Quanzhen sect. Just call me senior brother." Zhiqing thought of Jing's address to Qiu Shibua and others, and nodded in agreement. "Senior brother Guo." After he finished shouting, he saw a smile on Jing's face, and he also showed a smile. "Senior brother, please wait here for a moment. I'll have someone change my son's robe and come over later." Jing saw Guo covered in dirt and chaos, and his face showed shame. "Excuse me, junior brother." "Senior brother, don't say too much. Since Guo has worshipped me as his teacher, I will take responsibility for him." Zhiqing finished speaking and turned his head to look at Guo on the side. Just now, this kid apprenticed so skillfully. I don't know if he truly worshipped him. He doesn't care about these things, even if it's not sincere, he can still figure out a way to make the boy's heart win. Zhiqing bid farewell to Jing for the time being and took Yang Guo to the dressing room to collect his clothes. When Yang Guo came out wearing new clothes, Zhiqing's eyes lit up slightly. This kid was indeed handsome, and he was about to compete with what he had before. Guo, come here. Yang Guo hesitated when he saw Zhiqing waving. He didn't know why his master called him over. Master, what do you want me to do? When Zhiqing saw Yang Guo hesitating, he laughed and said, there's so much nonsense. If you come over, come over. Master can still harm you. Yang Guo thought to himself, so he walked up to Zhiqing's side. Just relax. Zhiqing reached out and groped around Yang Guo, then used his internal strength to examine him. After a while, he patted Yang Guo's shoulder and said, you, don't practice that kung fu on yourself for now. Upon hearing these words, Yang Guo's face flashed with panic. I don't have the time. Nonsense. Zhiqing gave Yang Guo a headache and said, you have abundant qi and blood, and you have some strength. It's obvious that you have entered a skill. However, getting started with kung fu is a good thing, but if you run it recklessly, you have injured some muscles and veins. How could Zhiqing not know that this kid learned Toad's skill from Ouyang Feng? Is Toad's skill so easy to practice? Ouyang Feng is crazy again, and Yang Guo dares to teach him without any trace of practicing martial arts. Yang Guo saw Zhiqing speaking seriously and his words were also full of care. He lowered his head and admitted, I did practice randomly. Yang Guo was very surprised in his heart. The master looked young and could easily see through his martial arts practice at a glance. This kung fu is pretty good. Zhiqing will not underestimate Ouyang Feng's Toad skill. The person who teaches you kung fu doesn't seem to have considered it too much. Tomorrow, I will teach you the internal mental skills of our Quanzhen sect first. You may not know much about the martial arts of our Quanzhen sect. After Zhiqing finished speaking, a look of disapproval flashed across Yang Guo's small face. He smiled at this. This kid probably looked down on the martial arts of the Quanzhen sect because he saw that Zhao Zhijing and his fellow disciples couldn't beat Jing. Zhiqing pretended not to see it and led Yang Guo all the way to Jing's yard. As he walked, he said, your master, I also joined our Quanzhen sect halfway through. At that time, I was about your age. I have only been practicing martial arts for about 3 years now. The sword that master killed the Mongolian monk just now, you should have seen it in the crowd too. When Yang Guo saw Zhiqing's gaze, he nodded repeatedly. He thought to himself, if it weren't for the majestic appearance of that sword, he wouldn't have been so quick to apprentice. Zhiqing naturally didn't know what Yang Guo was thinking. He whispered, after practicing for 3 years, you will also have this kind of kung fu. He caught a glimpse of Yang Guo's face showing a lively expression as he spoke. However, during this period, you must practice diligently and not slack off. Yang Guo took over the words and said, Master, don't worry, as long as you teach me martial arts, I will definitely practice well. Zhiqing smiled and said, I ask you, why do you want to practice martial arts? Yang Guo didn't even think about it and said, of course I don't want to be bullied anymore. Zhiqing filtered out Yang Guo's background in his mind. He nodded slightly and said, it's right to have this idea. However, Yang Guo raised his head curiously. However, practicing martial arts means killing people. Zhiqing finished speaking calmly, but the murderous aura in it made Yang Guo shiver inexplicably. He did not explain to Yang Guo why he wanted to kill someone while practicing martial arts. Zhiqing and Yang Guo had already returned to the courtyard where Jing was. He entered the yard and saw Jing sitting on a stone stool, lost in thought. He coughed lightly and joked, is senior brother thinking about madam-in-law? Jing, an honest person, never expected Zhiqing to say so. Blush, and he is really thinking about Rinjir. Junior brother, have you come back? Su Zhiqing nodded and sat down next to Jing, instructing Yang Guo to say, "Excuse me, go boil some tea. The tea cups are inside the house, you can find them. There's a fire in the firewood room." Yang Guo exclaimed and went to make tea. After Yang Guo left, Su Zhiqing spoke up and said, "Senior brother, as far as I know, even if you are busy, you should have the time to teach your child." Jing felt ashamed upon hearing this and said, "I had already taken my son as an apprentice, but he didn't respect my master." Jing immediately mentioned that he had taken Yang Guo as his disciple on Peach Blossom Island, but Yang Guo had practiced the martial arts of Ouyang Feng, the great enemy of Quanzhen. Not only that, but also the export collides with the clouds. In the end, he no longer accepted Yang Guo as his disciple. Su Zhiqing vaguely remembers that it was due to these plots. But he only remembered a rough idea. Moreover, he didn't fully believe in those plots, such as this time when those chaotic people attacked the mountains. He listened quietly to Jing finish speaking. After Jing finished speaking, he said calmly, "Do you know how Yang Guo learned Kung Fu from Ouyang Feng? Why did Yang Guo disrespect Kudaxia in his words and instead speak up to defend Ouyang Feng?" Jing was stunned at the words. He doesn't know how to speak. Su Zhiqing saw that Jing didn't know what to say, so he smiled and said, "Senior brother, don't think too much. Anyway, this is just a thing of the past." Jing nodded repeatedly upon seeing this. He has a clumsy mouth and really doesn't know how to say it. It's actually this young disciple of Master Sun who is truly a person with quick thinking. Unlike him, he never thought so much. Su Zhiqing and Jing were discussing, and Yang Guo brought over the tea that had been cooked over there. He didn't ask Yang Guo to help pour tea, but instead asked Yang Guo to stand aside. He picked up the tea and poured a cup for Jing. "Senior brother, you said you took in those two young martial artists and your daughter as your disciple, right?" Jing nodded and looked at Su Zhiqing inexplicably. "Coincidentally, I just joined us today. How about we also make a 3-year agreement?" Jing didn't understand what Su Zhiqing meant. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Su Zhiqing's Apprenticeship. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Su Zhiqing's Apprenticeship. What do you mean by a 3-year agreement, junior brother? Jing held the tea and asked for clarification before drinking. "Senior brother, the 3-year agreement is naturally a martial arts competition." Su Zhiqing smiled and said, "Junior brother, didn't you tell me to accept those three? They are about the same age as Guerre. I happen to be thinking of having them compete in 3 years. Firstly, it will allow them to get to know each other in 3 years' time, and secondly, it will also show my senior brother my ability to teach disciples." Upon hearing this, Jing put down his tea cup and said, "Junior brother, you've been worried too much. Since I've handed over my child to you, I can rest assured. But the 3-year agreement you mentioned is indeed good. According to my junior brother, let's have them compete in 3 years." When Su Zhiqing saw Jing agree, he said again, "Senior brother, let's not just compete in martial arts. Why don't we also take a civil arts exam?" How Jing refused. According to what junior brother said. Upon hearing this, Su Zhiqing turned his head to look at Yang Guo and said, "Guo, have you heard me? I will teach you martial arts and literary skills well in the next 3 years as a teacher. 3 years from now, don't lose face with your master." Yang Guo's small face hesitated a bit. Why did he compete in martial arts again? Last time Aunt Huangrong taught him martial arts, but she didn't teach him martial arts. During the fight, he was so angry that he used Toad's skill, which led to what he did today. He is afraid of another competition, in case he misses and kills them. Can we not compare it? Yang Guo doesn't want to compete. Su Zhiqing laughed and said, "What are you afraid of?" I'm afraid I'll hurt them." Jing's face showed a pleased expression upon hearing this. "I have never competed in martial arts, so I thought I wouldn't hurt them. As expected, I have a kind heart. Zhiqing tugged at the corner of his mouth. He can guarantee that Yang Guo definitely doesn't have such thoughts. Don't worry, there will be Wei Shi and your uncle Guo there. Zhiqing said so. Jing also nodded. Yang Guo had no choice but to accept. Zhiqing didn't ask Yang Guo again when he saw her promise. But he looked at Jing and said, "Senior brother, who has the highest martial arts skills in the martial arts world today?" Yang Guo beside him also perked up his ears upon hearing this. Jing didn't expect Zhiqing to ask such a question. After thinking for a moment, he shook his head and said, "I don't know." He doesn't know whose martial arts are high and whose are low. Everyone is good at martial arts, and one must have fought before they can judge their level. They basically don't show their heads either. Yang Guo's eyes flickered with disappointment upon hearing this. He wanted to know who had the highest martial arts skills. Zhiqing chuckled lightly and said, "Senior brother, I think you have the highest martial arts skills in the martial arts world today." Jing shook his head repeatedly upon hearing this and said, "Junior brother, you can't say that. If you don't say anything else, there are many experts on the mountain of your Quanzhen sect." Zhiqing shook his head and said, "But they can't compare to you, senior brother, can they?" "Junior brother, don't say that. The level of martial arts has always been determined by the moment, and there are also differences in timing, location, and harmony between people. If we only talk about competing for internal strength, senior brother can be considered relatively strong here, but he dare not be so skilled in martial arts." Jing pondered for a moment and said, "Not to mention anything else, the nearby one lamp master has reached the pinnacle with one hand and one yang finger. Few people in the martial arts world can withstand it. My father-in-law is extremely skilled in martial arts, and ordinary people in the martial arts world would even avoid his name. And my sworn brother's old mischievous child, his martial arts skills are not comparable to ordinary people. The recently famous Red Practice Fairy in the martial arts world, her martial arts skills are not to be underestimated." After giving a list, Jing said seriously, "Whoever has high or low martial arts skills may not necessarily have high or low martial arts skills. There are many situations to consider. What senior brother said is absolutely right." Zhiqing nodded in agreement. He was more in agreement with Jing's words. If only one person uses force to compete, one can distinguish their martial arts skills to the end. Unless it is a specialized competition, most situations in the martial arts world are not about fighting alone, but about standing shoulder to shoulder. For example, can the Quanzhen sect now become the largest sect in the martial arts world, relying on solo combat? Not really. But rather a cohesive force. The power of all the disciples of the Quanzhen sect combined. For example, if Jing had not learned the martial arts techniques of the Quanzhen sect, how could the Big Dipper 7-star formation easily be broken? Zhiqing and Jing were discussing who had high or low martial arts skills in the martial arts world, which made Yang Guo next to them feel energetic and envious. He also had a doubt in his heart. Everyone is practicing martial arts, isn't there anyone who ranks first in martial arts? With this in mind, Yang Guo couldn't contain his thoughts and asked, "Uncle Guo, according to what you said, isn't there anyone who has the best martial arts in the world?" Upon hearing these words, Zhiqing chuckled softly. Jing on the side also smiled. "Of course there is." Yang Guo was extremely excited and said, "Who? What kind of demeanor should it be to become the top martial arts expert among so many people?" Jing said in a deep voice, "Your master, Wang Zhenren." He also had the same idea of admitting Yang Guo to the Quanzhen sect, which is currently the largest sect. Also, his master Qiu Chuji and others are very good people. After careful consideration, he finally placed Yang Guo in the Quanzhen sect. Not casually placed. Upon hearing Jing's words, Yang Guo looked incredulous and said, "How could it be? All that came to his mind were scenes of those Taoist priests unable to withstand a single move under Uncle Guo's command. What's impossible? Su Zhiqing glanced at Yang Guo. Others couldn't guess this kid. He knew at first glance that this kid might not have thought of anything good. Back then, your master, with one sword per person, was able to become the number one in the world. It wasn't self-proclaimed. It was fought and killed. Yang Guo turned his head to look at Guo Jing and noticed that Uncle Guo nodded in agreement. He was pleasantly surprised in his heart. So, if he had learned the martial arts of the Quanzhen sect, he would have a chance to become the number one in the world. Su Zhiqing caught a glimpse of the burst of color in Yang Guo's eyes. He said confidently, if you practice hard and have a little talent, maybe in the future you will also be eligible to participate in the competition for the ranking of world experts. Guo Jing shook his head and chuckled on the side, but his evaluation of Su's junior brother in front of him took it to the next level. Where did he come to talk and play with him, junior brother Su? It's obvious that he's been trying to teach him by any means possible. He sighed inwardly that although Su's junior brother was not very young, he had his own set of skills when granting apprenticeship. If I follow him, I shouldn't lose out. Su Zhiqing, as Guo Jing had thought, wanted to use Guo Jing's words to tell Yang Guo about the Quanzhen sect. Otherwise, he's worried that this kid always doesn't follow the right path. This is just one means. How could a person be so honest after being able to hang around at the bottom of the martial arts world for so many years and enduring so many hardships? He thought to himself that when practicing, he should take good care of himself. This kid is able to touch the frog skills taught by that crazy Ouyang Feng, and obviously has a high level of intelligence. He would like to know what Yang Guo, who practices step by step, will look like in 3 years. Su Zhiqing restrained his thoughts. Those are still far away, so let's focus on the present for now. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Teaching Martial Arts and Literature. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Teaching Martial Arts and Literature. The next day. The sun hasn't come out yet. Yang Guo was still soundly asleep in his room when suddenly the door was opened. Yang Guo, who was alert, instantly opened his eyes. Before Yang Guo could react, he was thrown into a black ball by someone. Wake up. Put on your strong suit and come with me. Yang Guo woke up to the sound and realized that the person coming was actually a master. Su Zhiqing stood outside the room and waited quietly for a while before seeing Yang Guo yawn and walk out of the room with sleepy eyes. Go wash your face. Wake up. Master. Yang Guo glanced at the sky and found that it was not even bright. Why do you get up so early? Su Zhiqing saw Yang Guo procrastinating and glared, hurry up. Wash your face. Oh. Yang Guo dare not resist, even if he complains in his heart, he dare not expose it. He honestly went to wash his face. Su Zhiqing waited for Yang Guo to finish washing his face, then turned around and left the yard. And he threw a sentence at Yang Guo. Follow me. Yang Guo let out a shout and quickly followed up. He had just left when a cold wind blew and his body trembled. It's so cold. As soon as he finished speaking, he realized that the master in front of him was also wearing a thin and powerful outfit. Master, aren't you cold? Su Zhiqing responded without looking back, if you run around, it won't be cold anymore. Yang Guo looked surprised. What does running around mean? Su Zhiqing quickly told him to run around whatever he wanted. He didn't do anything with Yang Guo and ran around the small path he used to run on when he first came to the Quanzhen sect. Based on 5 kilometers. In this era where everyone practices martial arts, Su Zhiqing found that running is equally useful. Because when he runs, even without practicing Jin Yen Gong, he can still make slow progress in Cash Yen Gong. Progress doesn't matter, running can strengthen his heart and lungs. Let him maintain a longer speed when using lightness skills. This point is not displayed on the panel. He is still regretful that the panel cannot display his physical fitness. He doesn't run every day, he runs for about 5 days in 7 days. Run for 3 days and rest for 1 day, then run for 2 days and rest for another day. The next time will be 3 days. This cycle. Over the past 3 years, his physical fitness has improved significantly. Besides running, he also goes swimming in the rivers on the cliffs. Zhiqing and Yang Guo ran for 5 kilometers in one go. He found that Yang Guo was also resilient. After running 3 kilometers, Yang Guo's footsteps slowed down, and he gritted his teeth and persisted in running leisurely. After running 5 kilometers, Zhiqing gave Yang Guo an approving expression. When running, do you feel like your heart is about to jump out, and then exhale and inhale hard to relieve it? Yang Guo nodded weakly, feeling only a burning pain in his stomach. Zhiqing looked at Yang Guo's appearance and pointed to his lungs, saying, "This is the lungs, where you exhale and inhale. Don't think it's the stomach, there are 5 internal organs inside, each position is different." Zhiqing finished speaking and asked, "Have you ever read a book?" Yang Guo nodded and said, "After reading the Analects, Mencius." "Not bad." Zhiqing smiled and pointed to his head. "A person not only needs to have strong martial arts, but also strong here." The combination of past science and modern martial arts has enabled Zhiqing to quickly understand martial arts. Perhaps the differences in this world can generate vitality through practicing martial arts. It's not qi and blood. Qi and blood are qi and blood, and qi is qi. It's completely 2 different things. Of course, this alone is not enough. Just like you now, your brain may be fine, but your body can't take it anymore after running for about 10 miles. We still need to exercise. But there's no rush. Upon hearing this, Yang Guo became extremely anxious and said, "Master, I can do it. I know you can do it. But your body can't do it." Zhiqing glanced at Yang Guo and said, "You vomited while running now. Didn't you see it, Master? You have already exceeded your limit today." Yang Guo nodded with a vague understanding. "Let's go back and take a shower and change clothes first." After Zhiqing brought Yang Guo back to the yard and said that there was hot water for demolition, he went back to the house. The hot water was cooked by him for Yang Guo. For him, 5 kilometers is just a slight warm up. "I don't even need to take a hot bath." Zhiqing returned to the room and took out a book. The above marks indicate the positions of the human meridians and the 5 organs and 6 viscera. This is the medical book he collected, combined with what he has learned, compiled especially the painting of human veins. It was created with great effort by him. With this painting alone, it far surpasses this era. "Senior brother. We're going to have breakfast." Qingjiao ran into the house and saw the book in her senior brother's hand. When she saw it, she suddenly felt her head swell. Learning literary skills is enough to give her a headache on weekdays, but her senior brother even asked her to study medical skills. She has one head, 2 big ones. Qingjiao regretted running over to call her senior brother. She tiptoed around and wanted to sneak away. "Stop." Zhiqing caught a glimpse of his junior sister who wanted to slip away. Seeing her appearance, he joked, "Why, do you want to run after seeing this medical book?" "No, no, no." Qingjiao shook her head repeatedly. "I didn't want to run." After speaking, she looked sad and said, "Senior brother, are we studying medicine this afternoon?" "What are you saying?" Qingjiao's face collapsed instantly. "I can't do it without learning." Zhiqing was overjoyed to see Qingjiao's appearance. "No way. It doesn't matter if you're in the sect right now, but if you're wandering in the martial arts world, you must have an extra skill. There may be discussions on other matters, but when it comes to protecting lives, Zhiqing really doesn't offer any discount. Those who practice martial arts will also be injured, infected with wind and cold, and are more likely to be poisoned while wandering in the martial arts world. Medical books still need to be learned. He doesn't know why the medical skill is not displayed on the task panel. Otherwise, he also wants to know if he has achieved great success in medical skills now. In fact, he just doesn't want to memorize medical books and wants to add more points. After Su Zhiqing finished speaking seriously, he patted Qin Jiao's little head and said, "All right, don't cry and lose face. This book is not for you, it's for your nephew." Upon hearing that it was not her study, Qin Jiao immediately jumped up and hung it on Su Zhiqing's body. With a playful smile on her face, she said, "You knew my senior brother was scaring me. Go, go. Hurry up and get down." Su Zhiqing pulled Qin Jiao off her body and casually handed her the book. "You take it first, I'll go call Yangguo for dinner." Qin Jiao wanted to go with Su Zhiqing, but was immediately rejected by Su Zhiqing. He should still be taking a shower. Su Zhiqing walked to the door of Yangguo's room and found that he had already finished washing and was sitting on the ground rubbing his legs. Yangguo heard the commotion and quickly wanted to stand up. "All right, it's good to relax your muscles." Su Zhiqing asked Yangguo not to get up. He walked over and asked Yangguo to straighten his legs together. Then he pressed his foot against Yangguo's front foot and said, "It hurts a bit, please endure it." Su Zhiqing said and slowly stepped down. The pain of stretching his muscles and veins instantly twisted Yangguo's expression. The contract has been signed, and brothers who see this can now invest and earn a little coins. Early investment, early receipt. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. The Covenant of Xiaobi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. The Covenant of Xiaobi. Are you feeling good? Cool. Su Zhiqing smiled and relaxed Yangguo before pulling him up. He looked at Yangguo, who had improved a lot, and whispered, "Let's go eat first." Yangguo exclaimed, "What about Uncle Guo? Someone will send it to him." Su Zhiqing looked up at Yangguo. Ordinary people wouldn't think of Uncle. Quanzhen disciples have meals, similar to those in the cafeteria. But they are also eaten separately. For example, 3 generations of disciples eat in one cafeteria, while 4 generations of disciples eat in another cafeteria. If there are 3 generations of disciples who are optimistic about the existence among the 4 generations of disciples, they can also bring it to their side. The number of people cannot be too large. The Quanzhen sect does not like meat, so it is mainly vegetarian, with mantou. Su Zhiqing brought his junior sister Qin Jiao and disciple Yangguo to the cafeteria. As soon as the 3 of them arrived outside the cafeteria, they met Zhao Zhijing, who was also in the cafeteria. On weekdays, when eating, Su Zhiqing often meets Zhao Zhijing. The 2 of them used to meet but didn't have much conversation. Today is not the day. As soon as Su Zhiqing stepped into the cafeteria gate, he was stopped by Zhao Zhijing. "Junior brother Su, wait a moment." "Senior brother Zhao." Su Zhiqing arched his hand at Zhao Zhijing and said suspiciously, "I don't know why senior brother is calling out to me." Zhao Zhijing looked coldly at Su Zhiqing and said with a smile on his face, "Su junior brother, many noble people forget things. I'm afraid he forgot about yesterday, right?" Su Zhiqing frowned when he heard Zhao Zhijing's strange aura. Brother Zhao's sarcastic words make him want to cause trouble. He has precious time, but he doesn't have time to chat with Zhao Zhijing and Luo Li. Therefore, Su Zhiqing restrained his smile and said directly to Zhao Zhijing, "Senior brother, if you have anything to say, just say it." "You." Zhao Zhijing saw Su Zhiqing put away his smile and heard the evaluation of his masters and uncles from yesterday. He felt inexplicably angry and said, "Yesterday, Jing attacked the mountain, and my disciples had already sent a signal. Why didn't you come over earlier?" Inexplicably wonderful. Su Zhiqing shook his head upon hearing this. "Senior brother, you've already dialed the wrong person, why did you ask me to come and support you? Fortunately, I arrived in a timely manner, otherwise." "Forget it, are you trying to trouble me by blocking me today?" If you want to trouble me, just draw a line. And senior brother, when senior brother Guo was fighting with you yesterday, I don't believe he didn't tell you who he was. Su Zhiqing's words fell to the ground, and Yang Guo beside him immediately testified, when Uncle Guo was besieged by them yesterday, he had already told them his name, but they still refused to let go. Although Yang Guo is young, he has spent a considerable amount of time in the martial arts world. Especially adept at observing words and expressions. He saw in front of him that the Taoist who had been beaten up by Uncle Guo yesterday was clearly looking for trouble with his master. Upon hearing Yang Guo's words, Zhao Zhiqing immediately scolded, "Stinky kid, I'm talking to your master. There's no need for you to interrupt. Do you know what respecting teachers and valuing the way means? Why don't you follow any rules?" Yang Guo was about to refute when Su Zhiqing patted Yang Guo's shoulder. He coldly glanced at Zhao Zhiqing and said, "That's the same sentence. If you want to cause trouble, just cut the line and don't force me to be lazy here. I don't have time to accompany you." After speaking, he ignored Zhao Zhiqing and went into the cafeteria with his junior sister and Yang Guo. Zhao Zhiqing's nose was crooked when he saw Su Zhiqing's behavior. "Su Zhiqing, do you dare to compete with me during the small competition?" Su Zhiqing was about to refuse when he realized that he still had a task hanging on him. "I can just show off my skills in front of Shibua and others, and also teach Zhao Zhiqing a lesson. According to the plot, Zhao Zhiqing may collude with Mongolia in the future. But now Zhao Zhiqing is just a bit anxious Taoist, not so evil. So now he doesn't have much resentment towards Zhao Zhiqing. Yesterday's incident made Zhao Zhiqing hate him. When he waited for Xiaobi, he showed this guy what a genius is. Su Zhiqing is a martial arts genius. Panel is also considered a talent." Su Zhiqing calculated the time. "It's only June now, December is the time for the sect to compete. About 6 months. In 6 months, his accumulated proficiency will definitely elevate his martial arts skills to the next level. Zhao Zhiqing brought it to your door. TSK. Su Zhiqing waved his hand and said, "Xiao Bai Jian." The disciples of the sect are not allowed to compare themselves in size and are not allowed to do anything at will. Previously, Zhao Zhiqing was chattering around here. He didn't mind giving Zhao Zhiqing a swordsmanship lesson directly. Zhao Zhiqing saw that Su Zhiqing didn't even know how to look, so he just waved his hand and agreed. He was determined in his heart and swore that he would teach Su Zhiqing a lesson when it came to Xiaobi. Su Zhiqing was too lazy for Zhao Zhiqing to think, so he had his senior brother who served meals serve 3 people. Clear congee, green vegetables, mantu. Others are like this, but Su Zhiqing, his junior sister, and Yang Guo have an extra egg in their plates. This is a special instruction he gave to his senior brother in the cafeteria. Fortunately, the cafeteria senior brother is not bad, and he is not the kind of disciple who has received the precepts. I added eggs to them. Every day. The 3 of them sat down to eat, but Yang Guo spoke up. "Master, just now that Taoist strength was so. Pop." Su Zhiqing gave Yang Guo a headache and said, "Don't keep talking about Taoist priests. He has a surname, and he's also your senior uncle." He caught a glimpse of Yang Guo's aggrieved expression and said, "Don't worry about what you think of him in your heart. In public, in our sect, you must honestly call him Shibua." Upon hearing these words, Yang Guo immediately realized. "Master, what do you mean by this kind of occasion?" Su Zhiqing put a dish of mantu into Yang Guo's mouth. "Eat well, don't talk nonsense, I'll teach you martial arts later. Don't say anything that makes me unhappy, otherwise you'll probably have to wait until the next life to learn martial arts." Yang Guo instantly closed his mouth. Qing Jiayao looked at her senior brother's serious expression, and she chuckled. "Don't laugh, I'm going to assess your literary skills this afternoon." Qing Jiayao spat out her tongue and made a funny face at Su Zhiqing. Then, without waiting for Su Zhiqing to stare, she immediately lowered her head and ate honestly. After dinner, Zhiqing took his junior sister and Jing to the small courtyard where Jing was located. The three of them arrived at Jing's courtyard and saw that Jing had just finished breakfast. Senior brother. Upon hearing the sound, Jing turned his head and saw Zhiqing and the other three. Junior brother Su, here you are. This is my junior sister, Qing Jiao. So it's Sister Qing. Zhiqing patted his junior sister and said, call senior brother. Qing Jiao obediently called out to senior brother Jing. In front of outsiders, she is still very obedient. Zhiqing came to seek advice on martial arts from Jing. He even temporarily put aside his daily tasks. To improve one's martial arts skills, one should also enrich their experience in facing enemies. He doesn't want to be someone who thinks his martial arts are good, but as soon as I entered the martial arts world, I fell for someone else's bad luck. End of this chapter.